Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Monday. It is I, your ever fearless leader, Nicola. That was weird. Isn't that interesting? I was like, I don't know that I want to say that. Sometimes I am full of fear. Other times I am not so full of fear. So good morning. Welcome to the Coffee Run. It is episode number 217 coming to you live or via replay or audio on either Facebook, LinkedIn, SoundCloud, iTunes, or or Spotify, all of the amazing places where I am able to be shared. It's very exciting. So what I wanted to talk with you about today, but the thing that we know is that business, marketing, visibility, everything is all about, mindset, right? It's about the mindset that you have when you decide to get moving. It's the mindset that you have when you hit speed bumps. It's a mindset. It's always about mindset. I don't think it's ever not about mindset. Whenever you are looking at expanding, evolving, or even scaling back, sometimes a scaling back of things can really have a profound impact, and therefore we need to have a really good mindset around that, right? Depending on why it is that you might choose to do that. So I was wondering, where is it that you're making things harder? Hey, Jodes, where are you making things harder than what they actually need to be? So what got me thinking about this, there's a couple of things. One of them was this morning. So I went to the gym this morning, but I was like, I don't really want to go, and it's really cold outside, and it's school holidays, right? So our morning routine is a little bit different. And I was just like, don't want to go. It's like, Nicola, if you don't go, you're not going to go all week. Like, that tends to be a bit of my annoying self-sabotage pattern, is if I don't go and do something on the day that I'm supposed to do it, particularly on a Monday, it all sort of falls apart. So sometimes we're making things harder than what they actually need to be, because it's a little bit like going to the gym or ripping off a Band-Aid. The sooner you do something, the faster you do something, the sooner you eat that proverbial frog, the faster you're going to get some feedback. Feedback in the form of results, feedback in the form of lack of results, feedback in the form of new information. I'm not talking about feedback from other people from your prospects or other people from your world. It's more about the information that you get fed back to you, the data. So one of the things that I found that makes things harder for people is overanalyzing. I'm a queen thinker. I used to, way back when, just overthink everything, and instead of and I would still execute the things that I needed to do, but I would find that the speed in which I would implement was certainly slower than what it could have been, because I was just always overthinking everything. Another thing that I tend to find is that people get so caught up in trying to make things right. Yeah, like trying to make things perfect, trying to make things just exactly bang on and have all of the answers. So one of the things that came up in our 30-day challenge call this morning at 6 a.m., which you can't buy. It's not a hidden sales tactic. You actually can't get in it. But And one of the things that we were talking about today was how one of my clients in there said that she'd plan this week and next week and the following week, and kind of in minute detail. Now, I think that one of the challenges with this, particularly for entrepreneurs, for creative people, for people who have all of the ideas and, things like that, and we like variety, the longer you kind of forward plan and plot out your things. I'm not talking about, I've got a client next Wednesday at 12. That's fine. But in terms of if you're trying to manage and dictate exactly creatively from a marketing perspective, from what you might even be selling next week, things like that, it can kind of hamper your efforts, because you're trying to make everything then fit in the exact way, in the exact flow, and in the exact process that you've kind of got it in your head. Now, in my experience, that doesn't necessarily always work, and sometimes it can end up a little bit like golden handcuffs, whereby you're like, oh no, I'm really excited about this and I'm going to go and plan and do all of these things. And then when you kind of run out of steam, or maybe you just get this thing where it's like, okay, I can't promote this anymore. So for instance, there was a program that I was promoting maybe 4 or 6 weeks ago. Hey Georgina, great to see you. Maybe 4 or 6 weeks ago, and I was like totally gung-ho about it for the first week, and then rolling around into the second week of the promotion of it, it felt like I was pushing shit uphill. Now, was it a great program? Of course it was. Was I still excited about delivering it? Yes. But in terms of my energy levels and my excitement about the marketing of it, it was just it just wasn't there. I still dug in. You still do the things that you need to do. You still promote. You still sell. You still put your calls to action up there. You still do all of these things. But really, at the end of the day, I guess where I'm going is that what I should have done is I actually should have pulled that off the market at the end of that first week rather than persisting for the 2 weeks. Because I don't think I made any sales in the second week anyway, which doesn't actually really surprised me, because I should have yanked it. The energy wasn't there. It was kind of gone. So I think sometimes there are times where it's appropriate to dig in and keep going. And then there's also times where it's appropriate to go, okay, you know what, that's just, that's enough now. And how we make it harder for ourselves is by getting into resistance around making the decision. So the beautiful thing with this is that every time you are presented with new information or not presented with new information, you can always make a different choice. You can always make a different decision. So I wanted to just share that with you today, because I think sometimes the overanalysis, certainly, it's very cliche, isn't it? Overanalysis causes paralysis. And I don't really like those things normally, but it's true. The more you sit and think about something, the more you sit and plan out every minutia, every detail, everything, absolutely all the things, often that's when we lose the buzz, the drive, the sparkle of this thing that we want to create. And then we don't really pull it off in the way that we should. Or we spend 25 weeks sitting and doing all the things, and we like planning and plotting everything, but then we don't actually ever pull the trigger. We don't actually ever implement, and that's really terrible. Having the judgment to sometimes cut and run is so hard. It is, Jared, totally. And I think, like, for me, there's also it's almost like this sense of commitment, right? It's like, well, I said that I was going to market this for 2 weeks. And I'd still start it on the same day, or what I might choose to do, because I still made sales into the program. So I was always going to run it. So it wasn't about the not running it or the program not being great, right? It was more just the marketing. I just kind of like run out of steam. I was just really ready to start facilitating it. But it's this it was just this silly thing that I'd made up in my head around, well, I've committed to marketing this for 2 weeks, so I have to market it for 2 weeks, and then dancing between that. Well, should I pull it? Should I not? Should I keep going? Should I not? I don't have anything else that I really want to promote at the moment. So it was that kind of like a little bit of a dance. And then the other thing to consider is this an alignment issue, or is it a sabotage issue, right? Because sometimes, like, we are so freaking clever. Our brains, our limbic system is so clever at trying to keep us safe. But there's things that, that we'll consider, and there are things that we'll think about, and sometimes it's just classic sabotage, because we're not going to, like, if you don't launch a marketing campaign, or if you cancel a marketing campaign, you're not going to get eaten by the bear, right? So sometimes, like, there's this fear, like irrational fear or irrational commitments that we make that actually don't serve us any longer, and certainly don't serve our prospects or our audiences. Because here's the thing, I was talking about this, can't remember, to somebody last week. It might even have been with you guys. When you're writing your marketing copy and all your blogs, and you're just in like full, you're just downloading the words, the text, you've got the imagery perhaps dancing through your head, and you're like really in the zone. The thing that happens, and this happens with sales pages as well, incidentally, so sales pages, blogs, when you're doing your live streams, everything else, there is almost like, I think there's like 3 layers of communication that's going on, and it's not just the verbal and the non-verbal, although that is true, but we've got the black and white text that people read, or the words that you're saying, right? But then underneath that, we've also got 2 things that generally happen. So one thing that happens is that people will read everything, and then they'll feel connected to you and what it is that you're doing, right? So on an energetic level, and then they'll make a decision to either keep listening, keep reading, or not. But then one layer down from that, there's the communication that happens, like that whole, that movie What Lies Beneath, right? Or the way that I think about it is like there's the layer underneath, which is like the soul connection with your hot cold clients that either happens or doesn't. So everything that we're putting out there has a transmission. Everything that we put out there has a way of being able to connect with people on a rational level and then on the energetic level. And to me, when you are, and this is what I feel like happened actually, like the copy that I was putting out there was still good. Like the stuff that I was doing was still good because it was all tied in, but the energetic match was just not there. Right? And that's often what happens. That's the bit that we forget, is that when we're trying to force something, or when we're trying to make something happen, like, it was end of financial year yesterday here in Australia, and a lot of people are like, oh, I've just got to keep pushing to get those extra sales, and I got to push. And that push energy, what happens if somebody comes and pushes you? Like, you go back, right? Or if you walk into a store and you feel like somebody's really pushing a sale, like, oh yeah, this is really great, and you've got to do this now, and you've got to do this now, and you've got to do this now, then you kind of go like, whoa, like just, dude, hang back a little bit. And it's not always in the way that they're talking, or the way they're speaking, or the way they're writing. Often it's an energetic thing where you're just like, this feels really shit. It just feels like manky is the word I'm looking for, which I don't know how you spell manky, but because they're pushing, we tend to then go back. So rather, if we're trying to push through, and this is what happened to me, we're trying to push through to the end of the marketing campaign, you push, and nobody comes in, even if you're ticking all the boxes, even if you're doing all of the right things, right? So yeah, it can be really hard to cut and run, because we've invested time and energy and sometimes money and faith and blood, sweat and tears, and you might have had to learn new technology and whatever else it is that you've done in order for you to be able to execute. But the thing is that you're far better off if you've done the work and you've done the investigation around, well, is this no longer in alignment with me? And this is where you've got to be really honest with yourself and ask, am I sabotaging? Is this just no longer aligned? Hey, Kim, what else is going on? Am I just tired? Sometimes your hormones will impact it for a day. Sometimes your level of rest will impact it for a day. So before you go and yank it off, my opinion is you want to go through and just ask yourself these questions. Is it really out of alignment, or am I sabotaging? Or is it time for it to just be done? Has it had its run? And only you can answer that. So this is where you've really got to start to trust yourself. And I think this is one of the key things really around what's making it harder for so many people is their unwillingness or their fear around trusting their own choices and trusting their own decisions. And you know what? We all stuff up. We all make mistakes. We all decide to launch something that is not quite ready. Or we've all tried we've all wanted to pull something off the market or stop selling something. It just happens. And I think the sooner that we start to practice trusting ourselves, trusting our decisions, trusting our instincts, the easier everything else starts to sort of play out, and everything else starts to get into ease and get into flow a lot more. And the beautiful thing about that is that, again, we get back, like when we're out of that pushing mode and we start to get back and come back to center and really trust ourselves, that's when everything starts working. It's when your marketing starts working because of the energetics. It's when your copy starts working. It's when your sales start being made. It's when your clients or your people start, your prospects start engaging with you more. They start listening more. It's when people start reaching out and say, yeah, I really want some help with that. The other thing that I really wanted to talk with you about today is to just to remind you that sometimes shit happens. And we had some, so I coach skating. There's another lady and I, we coach skating on a Sunday afternoon, and it is seriously the best fun ever. I know I've spoken with you guys about this. And yesterday, unfortunately, one of our girls broke her ankle, and just really devastating. And the person who was involved, there was a little bit of a collision, and someone hit the floor and she broke her ankle. Now, this other person, it just like lost the plot, as you can imagine. But I guess the thing here is, even with the best intentions, even in the safest environments, even with all of the things being followed, sometimes shit happens. Sometimes accidents happen, and, things just, maybe you overlook something or whatever. I don't know, you go too fast or whatever the case might be. And I think it's really important. And this is where, I want you to think about in business or in marketing or in choices and decisions that you've made. Sometimes things won't work out the way that you want it to work out. The important thing is to not lay blame. The important thing is to not blame yourself, because blame is a very below the line, really low frequency energy. What we want to do is go, okay, well, how can I take responsibility for this? And it's not about saying it's my fault. It's not about saying I'm to blame. It's not about saying it's her fault or she's to blame or anything. It's just about going, you know what? I completely take responsibility for that. It was unavoidable. It was really unfortunate. And this is what we need to now do moving forward. In a business case, this might be maybe you gave some feedback in a not very nice way, or maybe you told someone that they could no longer work with you and they took it personally. Maybe it's where you accidentally said something and it's just like, I shouldn't have said that. That was really shit, or really insensitive or whatever. It's just like, okay, well, what's happened has happened and we can't change it. Unless you guys work out a way to time travel and then can go back and rewire the events in order for you to get back to where you are now. If you find out how to do that, let me know, because I think that could be kind of fun to experiment with. But meanwhile, the thing we need to do is just take responsibility and own every choice and every decision that we make. And this ties into the where are we making things harder for ourselves. If you're not fully owning your stuff, if you're not fully trusting, if you're not fully going, you know what, this is exactly what needs to happen, this is exactly what I need to promote, this is exactly how I need to say it, the more you second guess yourself, the worse, the longer things are going to take to pan out for you in your marketing and in your coaching or your mentoring or your practice building or your blogging or any kind of visibility efforts. So Mindset Monday for you guys today, it was what came out of my blog that I felt like I really needed to say to you. So that's that. Now, if you've got any questions that I can answer for you, we've got Q&A Wednesday coming up on a Wednesday. I can't wait to chat with you about that. Tomorrow we have got the awesome show at 9 a.m. and we are going to be talking about delegating, because, I think we can get to a certain point in our businesses where we can do everything ourselves, and then there comes a point where that's actually just not smart business. So I want to chat with you tomorrow about smart business and the art of delegating, deciding what to delegate to who, when, and how. So I look forward to sharing that with you at 9 a.m. tomorrow. I will be coming to you live from the airport because I'm traveling to Melbourne to go support my girlfriend Jo, who is having her 10 years in business celebration tomorrow afternoon. So if you are an allied health professional or a rehabilitation counselor or anyone who is in that kind of realm, reach out, let me know, and I'll introduce you to Joe, and maybe you can come down and find us in Melbourne tomorrow. Can't wait to hang out with her and meet some of you guys. It's going to be really, really, really amazing. Okay, everybody, have a really great day. You will see things start to come out over this next week about Visible Live that is happening in about 7 weeks' time live on the Gold Coast. It is a 3-day fully immersive event where we go through your entire marketing plan. We're going to get really clear on the foundations of everything. Then we're going to plan exactly what you're going to do with your marketing to support your visibility efforts, which is all about, you putting yourself out there and then attracting your people into your business. And then on day 3, we're actually going to implement. So we're going to be doing things like writing your sales pages, writing your marketing copy, launching landing pages, like the whole kit and caboodle. We're just kind of going to get all up in that grill and get shit done. So really excited to be talking with you about that this week. So keep your eyes out. It is, of course, called Market Yourself Like a Rock Star, because you are a rock star and you're freaking awesome, and the whole world should be watching you. The whole world should be listening to you. The whole world should be buying your stuff because you are amazing. All right. Have a great Monday, everybody. I will talk to you soon. Bye-bye.